It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Chinese mother bling baby Jello, famous Western delicacy. Poor Chinese baby. He unable to tell if this Jello is strawberry, raspberry, cherry, orange, lemon, lime, apple, black raspberry, black cherry, or grape. Jello come in all 10 flavors.
Was the child wearing anything when he was abducted?
Nobody sleeps naked in this house.
I am asking the questions, officer. If we're going to put an APB out, I need a description.
We're better trained to intervene in a crisis situation. What was he wearing?
A dinner jacket. What do you think? He's wearing his damn jammies.
Child was wearing his jammies. You happy?
Do you have any disgruntled employees?
Hell, they're all disgruntled. I ain't running a damn daisy farm.
What did the
My motto
say?
is do it my way or watch your butt.
So you think it might have been an employee?
Oh, don't make me laugh. Without my say-so, they wouldn't piss with their pants on fire.
What did the pajamas look like?
I don't know. They were jammies. They had Yodas and shit on them.
Come along, R2. Don't be so silly. You can't possibly be getting whooping cough. Droids don't get diseases like whooping cough, or measles, or polio. But children do. If a young child gets whooping cough, it can lead to pneumonia, brain damage, even death. All you need is a little rewiring, but children need to be fully immunized. And alas, so many are not.
Liz, desperately hiding in the darkest forests of the great Northwest.
Bigfoot is here. K-Tel's Bigfoot is here, and far from frightening, it can be great fun. You can make footprints in the snow. Follow the leader. Make up your own games.
Bigfoot, you're fun!
Bigfoot from K-Tel.
Chances of winning?
Slim to none.
Slim to none, you're right. Let me tell you, it's 1 out of 292 million. What do you think about that?
I knew it.
You knew it. Your numbers are lucky, though. Am I right?
I hope so.
Can I ask you, if you won all the money, what would you do with it?
Bunch of hookers and cocaine.
Oh, okay, that's not good. We were hoping for a different answer. That's probably not the answer that we're looking for.
I was hooked on phonics for a while. I had to go cold turkey, man. I locked myself in my hotel room for like a weekend. Oh.
Hooked on phonics worked for me.
Yeah, when I came out, I was saying phonics. So
exactly.
It worked.
That's one of the best things about that whole thing. Is phonics then would be Phonic or IK. But phonics, how does that start with a PH? Sounds like, just saying.
It's cruel. Like, why do they spell dyslexia the way they do?
Oh, that's mean.
Call it Bob. Something real easy.
I had a friend who was a very good businessman, but couldn't spell. And people would always tell him, use a dictionary. Do you see the problem with this statement? He always thought, why isn't there? Given somebody a great idea if you really want to take the time. Perhaps it's out now. A misspeller's dictionary. Words, right. Common word, with the most common way that they're misspelled. If you would spell phonics, Phonic or IKS, you would look under FON, and those options would be there with the correct spelling. Now, again, imagine with the dictionary how thick that bad boy would be. And it doesn't probably have to be every word, because if you can't spell so...
Now, shouldn't people, because of the internet, shouldn't people be a lot better at this now? Because if you Google the word phonics and you spell it Phonics, it'll come up and it'll say, did you mean phonics? And it'll spell it correctly.
This was 32 years ago.
What I'm saying is, shouldn't people be good spellers now because they have this tool out there? People are worse spellers now.
Oh, because it's lazy.
Yeah, but there's really no excuse for it. You've got a machine telling you that it's how to spell it correctly, and you still can't do it?
I don't know. I don't know now. I don't work with them anymore. But sometimes autocorrect, as we all know, will send you to the wrong word. And if you're not rereading or going back and reading through what you've written, who knows what you're going to get. Some words are obvious and it will correct. And sometimes it will just underline a word and then it's up to you to go back. But yeah. I remember spelling in 8th grade, 9th grade, something, but the book was from 1957. That I do remember. So I got 100% all the time on my words from 1957. Hallelujah.
Cool beans, Daddy-O.
Definitely up to date on the vernacular of the times. Yeah, I was not, but who cared?
They all come back in vogue eventually.
Groovy.
You know, I still say groovy. I say groovy. I say cool. Unironically, I say cool. I say awesome. I say groovy. Groovy semi-ironically. I know that I'm saying it.
Yes. I don't
It's a
say it as
throwback.
much as I did. I think a couple years ago I was more into the word groovy. I do say cool, but things just are cool.
Cool.
I would rather say that's cool than that's neat.
In our high school, I remember I was not a smoker. I was not one of the dirtbag smokers. But I don't know if this was true of the girls' bathrooms as well. Probably was. But in the boys' bathrooms, people would always be smoking in there. And whenever the door swung open.
Smoking in the boys.
Exactly. Whenever the
It
door.
had to happen.
Excuse me.
I just started coughing.
I know. I'm a method actor. So the door would swing open, and if it was a student, you would hear 10 different voices say, cool, 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 which meant keep smoking. If it was a faculty member or teacher, it would be bust. Bust, 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 bust. And then everybody would flush the toilets. And so it was either cool or bust. I think life is like that. Everything's either cool or bust.
So here's back to something,
Okay.
a couple serious things.
Okay.
Do you think that there will be any type, of gun reform at this point? Again, big push. Suburban women are all for it. Most, what do they say, 80, 90% of the ever-fading NRA in its current state. Just even the extended waiting period. The guy in Georgia bought the gun that day, went in, purchased it, and out the door he went.
Right. And Colorado is open carry, so there's that issue too.
Yeah, I watched a video of crazy LB with her little gun strapped to her leg, standing on a stage telling a crap ton of lies.
Yeah.
So here's my question.
Mhm.
She could stand up on the stage with her weapon, probably loaded, who knows? But much like NRA conventions, if I were to have attended that shit show, would I have been able to walk in with a weapon?
No.
Doesn't that seem a little silly?
I would like to say that I believe there will be gun reform, but I do not believe there will be. My cynicism has
history on this one.
Has history.
Even an extended waiting period. You know, when they say, well, 3-day FBI, you can't get that done in 3 days a lot of times, especially this past year. Make it a week, big deal. If it's for hunting purposes, which most people say, the people you're going hunting with probably have more than one rifle, borrow one.
Yeah, I mean, if 20 kindergartners being slaughtered didn't move the needle, then I don't think anything's going to. I really don't. That's horrible. I'm not, we should give up, but I don't see it.
People, we will never give up, but there comes a point when you wonder how sick, truly how sick people are. Well, and this grocery store yesterday, there was a security guard. Now, whether he was armed or not, I don't know, but he wasn't actively in the store trying to stop the shooter at Marjorie. Now am I going to mess that up? Marjorie Stoney. I can't say it. I've never been able to say it. The high school in Florida.
Okay.
The armed security guard stayed outside. He could hear the screams of the students. He heard the gun firing. He stayed outside, hidden behind a wall, saying, oh, that was protocol. That's protocol, which, of course, it wasn't. So I don't want to hear this good guy with the gun crap. And usually the good guy with the gun in the other schools, the good guy with the gun is one of the first ones to get shot.
Mm-hmm. And especially in any active shooter situation, if you're a quote-unquote good guy with a gun and you pull your gun out, you look like the shooter. They're going to shoot you because you're the shooter. I mean, how freaking stupid do people have to be to not understand that simple concept? You don't pull a gun out in the middle of an active shooting situation and not look like that. I mean,
there was a restaurant shooting a few years ago where there was a gentleman in the Army who had a permit, had his gun, and that's exactly what he said. That how when the police burst in, all they see is a man with a gun drawn.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah. I have a friend whose daughter survived a school shooting in California. I had a daughter in school when a couple of these school shootings were going on, and I remember specifically the terror that went through my in my mind, and listening to, coming home and hearing my daughter saying, "Oh, we did a active shooter drill today. How fun!" Like, no, I mean, she didn't think it was fun.
I don't think that they understand the gravity of.
We've accepted it.
Yes,
we've accepted it as a society, and so that's why I don't think anything's going to change. It's going to be.
I don't want to say we've accepted it. People haven't accepted it. It's just that the people making the decisions don't give a rat's arse what the vast majority of the population knows is the right thing to do. Yeah. They don't care. You and I aren't putting enough money in their pockets.
I don't see people taking to the streets over this.
People have.
Okay. I mean, they should.
They have.
Okay.
You'll have to go back and look up.
On the scale of like the Women's March, something that would just really be impossible to ignore.
I think March for Our Lives is the big most recent.
Okay. Something like that. To me, the media does so much towards pushing this narrative too. Even, let's say, CNN, who has a reputation of being liberal. They're not, but they have a reputation. If they're discussing the issue of gun control, whatever, they're going to have some lunatic right-wing guy on there to, quote, provide balance. And that is wrong. That's why the narrative is where it is because people are constantly told that there's two sides to this, and that this side and this side has valid argument, and this side has a valid argument, and it's just...
The word needs to be the word either reform or management. And I remember saying this before, that word control. Get rid of the word control. The whole thing would defund the police. Get rid of the word defund. Say what you actually mean.
In a way, I don't think it matters because the people who are going to counter it are going to lie about it anyway. They're going to call Joe Biden a socialist. Doesn't really matter.
Yes.
So,
and isn't he? Of course, this is being said by the people who don't understand the word.
Yeah. He's so socialist he can't even walk up the stairs.
Isn't that something? I can't count the number of times I've tripped upstairs.
I can't count the number of times that Trump tripped on the stairs. I mean, who cares? It's amazing that would be indicative of anything.
Donnie always refers to him as frail.
Yeah.
As Donnie can't even walk a golf course and Joe rides bikes.
Yeah. Morbidly obese. Trump.
I would think with a lot of women I know, if the option was human race dies out or he fathers your children, it's like, well, see ya.
Ooh.
Let's have a bye-bye party because then all the kids would end up being related anyway, and then that'd just be gross. But yeah,
well, here's
human race would die out from the women I know.
Here's an unsettling thought for you. How many, there's a number. We know there's a number. It's not a zero number. But how many women, let's just keep to women, on this planet, if they were given the opportunity today, would have sex with Donald Trump? Think about that. That is a very unsettling notion because
it is.
It's in the millions. It really has got to be in the millions.
It doesn't have anything to do with his physical appearance.
No.
It's all the mystique. I know one woman who thinks that he is actually attractive. I mean, just the way he shapes his work. But I've always thought he was vile. So this isn't new. He's just more vile. Viler, the vilest. Oh, could you imagine? Now, I know Mitchie's married. But if you also got on a dating site and your choices were Donnie, Mitchie, and let's throw in one more.
I think we need to do an F, Marry, Kill here.
Oh.
You know that game, F, Marry, Kill?
Yes. Yeah.
So.
No, and no.
Okay, here you go. Trump, McConnell, and Lindsey Graham. F, Marry, Kill. F, Marry, Kill. F, Marry, Abraham. F,
well,
Marry, Kill.
we know one of them wouldn't be interested in one aspect of it anyway.
Right. So that would be okay. I would kill Trump. No question there. And then you got married. Well, I guess the equation is money. You're looking at which one.
Yeah. Mitt probably actually has money.
Yeah, I would marry McConnell. I'd marry McConnell. He's not long for the world. He's got millions. So I would. So kill Trump, F McConnell, and
no, you're marrying McConnell.
No, sorry, and then F Graham. So at least one of us would be happy. It all works out. Oh dear.
I'll drop out of the game.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm gonna bring any. I'm not even gonna plead the fifth. I'm pleading. I'm out.
I'm gonna drink a fifth after that.
Would that even be enough? Oh, there aren't enough Hemsworths in the world to make any of that worthwhile.
Right. You need
I had
an
to
after dinner Hemsworth.
You know, when you brought, it's like Donald Trump attractive in women, in my mind with that, it's like, no. You know, no Hemsworths are going to invite me out on a date either. Too old. Well, I mean, perhaps other factors. But
when we were talking about how small Grand Island was, and it occurred to me, like, you go from Omaha, the size of Omaha, to Lincoln to Grand Island, and that jump from Lincoln to Grand Island is kind of the jump from, okay, you go from Chris to Liam, and then the jump from Liam to the third one. That's the jump. You know what I'm saying? In quality.
I don't know if it's that extreme.
The third Hemsworth. He's probably not that bad looking. Let me look him up. I bet he's not even.
No, he isn't. He isn't.
Figures.
Man, it's lunchtime, and now after that conversation.
Oh yeah. We go have a.
I don't think I have anything to expel, but that.
Go to the deli and get a Hemsworth sandwich. I bet there is one.
There are some good, believe it or not, some good delis. The best one closed years ago. And then a fantastic restaurant. They were way before their time. Were we in our early third? But the ceiling was recycled products, and the carpet was made from recycled products. And their menu, the menu was, I'm like Pavlov's dog over here with their menu.
What
from
kind of
both
food?
places. All different kinds, but even their Reuben was turkey pastrami with pineapple sauerkraut.
Wow.
And then the dressing was a roasted red pepper. Okay. Which might sound, it was ridiculous. But then the deli where I had my first Reuben, and they were thick, and the bread nothing was store-bought as far as baked goods or anything. Oh, my word.
Wow.
Their food was, Spanakopita was that first time I ever tried any of that was from them as well. All their food was just ridiculous.
When the world returns to normal, eventually, I'm going to take you to Katz's Delicatessen.
I've heard.
Yeah. The scene in When Harry Met Sally?
Yep.
When she does her fake orgasm voice, that's in Katz's. But it's apparently the best pastrami on earth. Not that I've ever had it, but you want pastrami, you go to Katz's.
There.
Yeah.
I was watching Beat Bobby Flay last night. No, that was actually in the middle. That was about 2:30 this morning. And the guy's dish was shrimp cocktail.
Mm.
And he made a really good one, but Bobby actually won. It was a split 2-1. But just really interesting. The stuff, the way he made it. Again, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I watched 3 episodes.
Of course.
Sleeping.
He just won.
No, sleep was elusive. I don't understand how these people know how through all these years they just figured this out. And some of these chefs are quite young. It's like, how do you figure this stuff out?
Dedication. Gordon Ramsay has a show for kids. Master Chef Junior, that's what it is, right? Where they have it's a competition show.
Okay.
And a couple years ago, it's like a spinoff of Master Chef, but where it's all kids. So a girl from Casey's class made it to the finals like 2 or 3 years ago. So we were watching avidly because of that. Speaking of delicious, I'm looking at the Hemsworth brothers here.
Oh,
and
yes.
That's delicious. The third one is definitely Grand Island. He's like 6 inches shorter.
Oh.
It looks like Elon Musk. If he wasn't surrounded by Hemsworths, you'd be like, whatever. So I'm going to stick with
that be a drag?
Yeah, it would be like being Stephen Baldwin. Or worse, William Baldwin. No, not William. What's the other one? There's 4 of them. The one whose only claim to fame was that he had a crack episode and trashed his hotel room and then ran naked through the streets afterwards.
There's Billy the Young, who's married to...
Right, there's Billy. Alec, Billy, Stephen.
And the older one who was married to a gal who was on one of the Law and Orders for all. He did some stuff for a while.
Yeah, but I think, I mean...
He's the oldest.
Oh, he is, okay.
The eldest of the brothers. One is Found God.
Yeah, that's Stephen.
Yes. Who was in one of the coolest movies ever. And it's playing in my mind and I can't. So.
It's either Biodome or The Usual Suspects.
There it is, The Usual Suspects.
Okay.
I'm like Kaiser Soze and it's all playing in my mind. I've told my son he has to watch that.
Oh, he's plenty good in that.
Well, it's just a really cool
movie. I sat behind him and his family one time at a Nutcracker. Took my kids to see the Nutcracker several years ago at Brooklyn Academy of Music, I think. Yeah, and the Baldwins sat directly in front of us. And the whole time I was thinking, I fucking hate this guy.
Why do you hate this guy?
When he became born-again Christian, he became really sanctimonious about it.
Oh, yes.
And I don't like people like that.
No.
So, it's like, dude, whatever your hobby is, it's okay. But, you know, he used to be, not a regular, but he was on the Howard Stern show quite a bit. He would come on, and he was real goofy, and he was, well, kind of loose and fun and whatnot. As soon as he turned born again, he, like, came into the studio with a Bible, and it was just a train wreck.
That's where you bring the Bible.
Exactly. It's like, it's the Howard Stern show. What do you think? What I heard was that his wife was a very devout Christian, and the word on the street is that he got caught cheating on her, and basically, as a capitulation to her, decided to get on his knees and beg forgiveness and become born again. So that's what I heard happen.
You see,
You wonder if that's going to stick, if that's the motivation, you know?
Mark Wahlberg, and his family, church every Sunday. Even if he's off on a shoot, I guess he finds a church. He's not preaching that out to everybody. That's just part of who he is. Yeah, if you got to preach. That's like one time when I worked in a bar and the owner had been a smoker and she quit. And she just started lecturing all of her customers who smoked. And she'd turn around and I would see their faces. And it was like, you better stop or you're going to lose your base. You're going to lose your regulars because there's another bar across the street down 5 doors. And they can go there. They can go any place else. This town is not short on establishments. So just hush. And if you can't stand being around it, don't work anymore.
Yeah. Ex-smokers are worse than smokers. That can be. Sanctimonious. Is sanctimony a word?
Yes.
I don't like sanctimony. Then that's the thing I don't like.
And I've known, it would seem like I've had friends who used to smoke. And if they started dating a guy who didn't like it, even if they didn't want to, they would quit. Or they would sneak some sometimes. But the guys never gave up anything. It didn't matter if the gal really didn't like something they did. It was just, well, this is who I was when you met me. Oh, okay.
Well, here's something that I used to ridicule, I think, mercilessly, and most people do. And then I just saw a documentary on the furries. You know what furries are?
Yes, I remember.
Well, it's pretty easy to ridicule them. And I think they, according to this documentary at least, which is pretty good. It's called The Fandom, which is a dumb title for it, subtitled A Furry Documentary. But it's interesting how this subculture, for anybody who doesn't know, furries are people who, it's kind of a subculture out of anime and stuff where people are very into anthropomorphic, whatever, animals, like animals as humans, cartoon characters, like comic book characters, whatnot. Now, the media made this into a whole sexual thing. Like, oh, these are sexual deviants. These are people who put on fur suits and have sex. And there is a segment of them who do that. But I think there's a segment probably of any fandom who does that. There are people at horror conventions who have sex in Freddy Krueger costumes. There just are. That doesn't mean that horror people are like that. That just means
for everyone.
Exactly. Anything that exists can be fetishized. So, yes, there are people who do that. But apparently it's... The furries don't really, they're kind of embarrassed by that, you know? It's sort of like every year in the gay parade, the NAMBLA, which is, you know, an organization that they're proponents of having sex with underage people. And they always want to march in the parade, and they're like, no, we don't want to. Here. Yeah. So I think the furries kind of look at those people a little bit like that. It's like, you just caused us embarrassment. But one thing I didn't know is that it comes out of queer culture more than I had realized. My point is that I think I found a new understanding. No, it's not for me. Yes, well, Mary, this is a long way about saying I have a revelation.
For all those Christmases and birthdays that you missed of Lee's
That's right.
furry costumes,
right.
Mail them to New York. They'll get to him.
Oh, the costumes are so cool, though, actually. I mean, not cool.
Enough said, people, enough said.
If you look into it, though, there are people who make these costumes. There are like a couple of like real professionals who that's all they do is they make these furry costumes, and there is cosplay to some extent, you know, like at conventions and stuff.
You sure do know a lot about this.
Well, you know, I watched a 90-minute documentary.
Uh-huh.
You know, I think if I watched a documentary about anything, I'd probably know at least for 2 or 3 days while that information stayed in my head. But then there's the bronies, and the bronies, I don't, no thank
And
you. No thank you.
People he knows and he knows and he knows.
Well, the bronies are
Knows
a whole
where
different
he
thing.
goes.
You know what
tell
bronies
us.
are, yeah?
No.
Oh, you don't know what bronies are? Okay, there's a cartoon series called My Little Pony.
Okay.
Which has been around for a number of years, and it goes through. There's different series. Bronies are men who are really interested in My Little Pony, which is a cartoon that's made for little girls, probably 5 to 8 years old. That's
Even just hearing this story, I'm feeling dirty.
It does feel dirty, and
It does.
Again, there are people who take it to an extreme, but there are also people who are like, no, I'm normal. I'm just a morbidly obese 30-year-old guy wearing a My Little Pony backpack. And okay.
Sure, why not?
Why not? It's not something I am asked. They're not asking me to understand it, and I do not, but...
I'm literally, honestly, holding my hands out. Like, yuck. Yes, I guess I'm being judgy.
Yeah.
Judgmental, judgy. Well, I thought it was going to go to another creepy direction.
I spare you the gory details. I'll try to paint just enough of the picture that it'll keep you up at night.
Yeah, because I need help with that.
There was a brony convention in Jersey City. I lived in Jersey City a few years ago, and I knew that there was this convention because I saw a postcard for it. And I was very curious. I was not going to go to it, but I was going to go and look in just to kind of see what was going on. So I walked over.
We're titling this segment Fun with Lee.
Fun with Lee.
Did you receive the postcard in the mail?
No, I'm not on a brony list, to be honest. I think somebody just...
Darn it.
It was probably at a comic book store, and I was like, oh my God. And at a brony convention, I think they had 1 or 2 of the voice artists from the cartoon. Those were like the guests of honor, so you could get their autographs. But I was just curious, so I walked over, and I stood outside, and I saw a man, a dad, with his 2 daughters, probably 8 to 10, and they've got their My Little Pony backpacks on. They got their My Little Pony Friendship is Magic shirts on, and everything's pony, and dad is just there, along for the ride, being a bitchin' dad, taking his daughters out to this. And as he's walking in, the person in front of him who's purchasing a ticket is a morbidly obese, mid-30s man with a My Little Pony backpack on and a t-shirt and glitter in his hair, and the dad just looked horrified, like, what?
Yeah.
Like, 5 minutes ago, I understood the world, and now I don't. Just nothing makes any sense now.
I would have been concerned taking my daughters in there. I mean, how much do you want to explain on a Saturday afternoon?
Well, who would get? I mean, if your daughter said, "Hey, Dad, I love My Little Pony. There's a convention." Of course, I would take my daughter to that. It wouldn't even have occurred to me that there was such thing as bronies. It would be like, of course, this is perfect. It's like Sesame Place. Of course, you take them. But hey,
Rose for ponies.
Yeah.
That must be the dad.
Ponies.
That's like a dad-daughter day. Let's
Ponies.
go, girls. Yeah.
Yeah.
The girls will play over here, and the fathers will have fellowship over there about what they have to deal with all the, having daughters. This could be good for everyone. Oh, I was wrong. Very, very wrong.
Help.
Yikes. I've never seen advertisement for any of those festivals here. We have Bigfoot conventions around here.
Wow.
And apparently they're quite successful. I have personally not attended, but
when you say successful, you mean in that they've proven the existence of Bigfoot?
No, hundreds.
Or they made money.
A couple thousand people show up.
Oh, okay. Well, that's successful.
Yes. Now, one of our good friends, well, we have a friend who attends. I'm not sure. Well, so then they attend as a couple. I'm not sure how much they believe, but they have a heck of a good time. And so there's this fantastic store here in town that has out of almost, they look copper because they're oxidized kind of, but whatever they are, it's some metal. It's got to be firmer than copper. About some that are 3 feet and then some that are 8 feet tall. And I almost bought one for them. Last year at the end of the summer, they were 30% off. And I thought, this could be fun. I should have to get one for them and just show up in the hometown, plop it in their backyard or, somewhere in their front yard, something, prop it up on the door somehow, ring the doorbell and run away. Then I realized I didn't think I had the means to get it there. I don't think it's going to fit in the SUV. So I have told them, and they think they're great. And they've seen smaller wooden ones, but they've never seen any large metal ones. They are pretty cool.
Well, I remember a couple of Bigfoot stories from our hometown from the 70s. I mean, there were stories. That doesn't mean they actually happened, but they were.
When we were young children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably. I used to have a scrapbook, long gone, but I had a scrapbook of Bigfoot stuff. Any clipping I would get, and then that's the 70s, so it wasn't like there were that many, to be honest. There was a I want to say like Stolly Park Road for some reason and somebody saw. It was obviously a deer, you could tell by the description, but they decided it had to be Bigfoot. He's driving along, and something brown and hairy was along the side of the road, and it jumped up and it took off into the trees. So
I think they jumped up and took off into the trees, would tell you.
Pretty much.
Well, there was when you would take the first exit, I think there was that little curved area. Was it Highway 34 when you're going into town? That just in this one area had trees that were so mature that they crossed. And so it was covered, and people would always say that there were always Bigfoot sightings in that area. Now, where he went after he got out of those two strips of trees, I don't know. But apparently that was quite a popular area. Now, we never saw.
No.
It would be interesting. I have admittedly watched those shows, sometimes just for humor's sake. I can't do it anymore. But where the people would say that they have a big bird feeder that was too strong for a man to bend the metal pole, all of a sudden was bent, and they have this kind of thing on film, but it's grainy, of course. But all the people can always see it. But the experts never find him, no matter how many nights they sit out there. No. And then they have all these fur or hair samples, and you might ultimately end up with something that's unidentified.
When it's unidentified, that really just means that they mishandled the specimen.
Yeah, then they figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's fun to keep it alive. It is. It's entertaining. A Bigfoot comes and knocks on my door and says, "What, you doubt my existence?" I'll be like, I was never completely one way or the other. Nice to meet you. Breath mint?
Yeah, exactly. Bigfoot is one of my few, I don't want to say obsessions, but I've been really interested in Bigfoot since I was a little kid. I mean, I checked all the books out of the public library over and over and over again. Had quite a collection of books myself. I've got a signed, an autographed photo of Bob Gimlin that used to hang on my wall. He was the other guy from the famous film, the Patterson-Gimlin film.
Okay.
Of a guy in a suit. Excuse
yes.
me, of Bigfoot.
Get that right.
Oh yeah. He's the one who's still alive. The guy who actually shot it died in the 70s, but he's still pretending that it all happened.
I saw a documentary about them and how that was all created, or how people thought it was done.
There's a good book that came out called The Making of Bigfoot, where this guy basically went to Yakima, which is where all the people lived who were involved in it, and interviewed everybody who was still alive. And at that point, this is probably 15 years ago, there were still a lot of people alive, and found the guy who was in the suit. He literally found the guy who was in the suit. People were saying, "Oh, you should talk to Bob Hieronymus," and they would giggle. He contacts this guy, and the guy who doesn't want anything to do with him won't even speak to him. And finally, after like several calls, and after he's spoken to literally everybody else in this small town, and they've all said Bob was the guy in the suit, finally he gets through to the guy, and the guy like speaks to his lawyer first, I guess, to make sure that he was not liable for this hoax. And then he told him the story. He just told the whole story, and it all makes sense. But the Bigfoot community is so nuts. They really are nuts. The online community, that he became the enemy. They're like the Q people in a lot of ways. I mean, it's kind of a cult. And anything that points in the direction of it being a guy in a suit is obviously fake news. And they would just bend over backwards to try to
discredit.
Thank you. To discredit it. But they couldn't. I mean, because the guy, he's still alive, and he's about 80 now, and he really had nothing to gain. He didn't even want to tell this story. He sort of was coerced
just
into
the
it.
talent.
Yeah, he was the guy in the suit, and you can even there's a video of him walking, and you can even see his arms move the same way. He's got that Bigfoot walk. But no, the Bigfoot people, they just dig in. They will not listen to any of that.
We almost think if you dedicate that much time, energy, money, that much of your mind to something, it has to be real. Otherwise, you're a fool.
Right. The sunk cost fallacy. The thing is, you could still believe that there was a race of Bigfoots and not believe that particular film was real.
Yes.
the whole story doesn't really hinge upon that film.
Or you could think that, wow, what a great guy to say that it was him and not real, to help protect the Bigfoot in that area, because if people believe that it's fake, they won't go searching in this area.
Yeah.
So how kind of you to put yourself out there.
Well, that's the great thing, is that these two guys who were, as the story went, they were out searching for Bigfoot, and then they found Bigfoot, and then they never went back. They literally found Bigfoot on film. And they're like, okay, that's fine. They never went back to try to follow the trail, to find the cave where they live or anything. Yeah, okay, we got it. That kind of tells you, I think.
Got what we came for, gang. Everybody pack up. Let's go home.
Why would you go back and look for it when Bob's standing right here? I mean, we know where he is.
I think this place is full of spies. I think they're on to me. Didn't anybody tell you? Didn't anybody tell you how to gracefully disappear in a room? I know you put in the hours to keep me in sunglasses, I know. And so now, I'm sorry I missed you. I had a secret meeting in the basement of my brain. It went the dull and wicked ordinary way. It went the dull and wicked ordinary way. Now I'm sorry I missed you. I had a secret meeting in the basement of my brain. I think this place is full of spies. I think I'm ruined. Didn't anybody tell you? Didn't anybody tell you this river's full of lost sharks? I know you put in the hours to keep me in sunglasses, I know. And so now, I'm sorry I missed you. I had a secret meeting in the basement of my